Just checking the light. You look very, very beautiful, both of you, by the way. That light. You should really stay there if you could for the rest of your lives. It's just a perfect lighting. Now, I was amazed when I've been aware of your music together, which you formed with Jose, and it kind of took me by surprise when I checked again, 2006. Did you guys think back then that this is going to be decades, or did you just think, let's just get this up and running and see what happens?
No, we just started it.
Right.
It was an experiment, really. Yeah.
Yeah, we've learned a lot over the years of what was good to do and what wasn't too good.
Well, you fired Jose. That was a good idea.
Yeah. Do you mean Zeka?
Oh, Zeka's got issue. No, I was just messing. I presume Jose was still there. I'd seen him around. But that notion of where it came from as an idea, because it is brilliant, to have this, the power of music is huge, and certainly for what the work you're doing, it has a great effect. I don't know whether that came from a conversation, whether somebody else sort of had spoken about it, or how it came to be.
Well, it came to be because we met at, this is how we met each other. We met at a music venue in Wales called Share Music.
Okay.
And it was a very big affair where there was kind of very famous people there, like Richard Stilgoe and the likes of that.
Right.
And it was the same sort of thing. It was musicians with disabilities. And I went as a volunteer. So you arrived there at this venue in Pembrokeshire, and you got one person to look after. I got a young girl in the wheelchair user. And then you looked after that person's physical needs all week, and you slept in the same room with them and got them dressed. But then all day long, it was just workshops of dance and drama and music. Right. And amazing instruments, and this is what kind of inspired us, to do something here. And
from that sort of Welsh kind of moment to the actual reality, was it a lot of work? Was there something of DIY? Let's just do it and see how it works. And
well, we wanted to really extend their organisation, into the Dublin area. Because they're based in Belfast originally.
So you worked in conjunction with them, like they were aware that you were kind of starting up a
they were aware, but they didn't want us to be an extension of them, and they didn't even want us to use their name.
Okay.
So then we just thought, well, we'll just do it our way,
right?
And the cost of we were put off by the cost of having a residential camp, which was what they did, which would have been huge money. And also, the first year we hired teachers from the National Concert Hall and
chorus school of music as
well.
And was it quickly that you sort of thought, it works, or was it a hard day's night to get to the the idea to the reality?
Oh, it was. The first one which we did in the harbour in Greystones on that little bandstand.
Right, going back, of course, before the war. This is before the war.
Well, it didn't go too well. It was very amateurish, and
people were passing by looking,
not sure what it was,
saying, what are they doing?
Right, they just thought it was the Pogues. So was it I don't know if it was a kind of doubt kind of period of maybe this doesn't quite work, or were you always sort of focused that whatever it takes, this will work?
Well, the thing is, the actual workshops we did to lead up to that performance were very good. The tutors that we'd hired at great expense were good, but the actual performance, everything went wrong. So we just thought, we learned from that, and we said, we'll have to do something different next year. And then we thought, we can't really afford the tutors anymore because they were big money. Yeah. And we thought, let's do it ourselves,
Right.
Because I can teach singing, Andy can, we had Zeka there then, he was teaching percussion. Right. And then Andy was in charge of all of it, so we just started doing it ourselves. And with some volunteers as well.
Did it take long for it to feel that it worked, or is that something that it just happened that you didn't notice that, oh, this is all actually okay now? I don't know if there was a kind of, a year later it was all fine, or whether it's always growing and always figuring things out.
Yeah, I think what really encouraged us was the year we did it in Burnaby Park. Right. And we had some really good dance volunteers from the Dunleary.
I was there, that was great, yeah.
And we had another girl, and it was just a really good performance. It was a beautiful day. There was loads of people in the park, and that really encouraged us that, like, okay, we're doing something right. So,
and I'm sure that the performers are getting it. This is the key to it all, is that they express themselves in a way that they may not have had a chance otherwise. Yeah. And it's a bit like being able to fly. Once you can play music, and suddenly it's in a different alternative universe, really. Now I'm guessing that was, a big part of the good feeling, that as much as the audience were beginning to click with it, it's really the people behind the microphones and playing the instruments.
Well, there's loads of enthusiasm and from the students, and like because we work with them, or we were working before I retired, we're working with them, week on week, and they'd just be asking 6 months before, when's the workshop? And it was just the demand got huge, so that we were having, like, I don't know, nearly 15 students at one point.
Musicians are normally very lazy, so that's good to hear that they're enthusiastic and they actually do want to rehearse and get it together.
Because they got so little opportunity to perform in public.
Right.
Most of them. So things
and, yeah, they really enjoyed the workshops where they had to come up with ideas of, writing songs, and it was
like
really
they own it, really.
There was lots of laughter and stuff.
Kind of owning the art you create is something special too. As much as it's a wonderful thing to cover a good song but when you kind of create it yourself, it's got to be.
And we decided from the beginning that it was all about the students, that the ideas had to come from them. We would pick a theme, right? And then they would have to work on that theme, and then we would have clipboard, and we'd have brainstorming and getting words together and putting chords together.
Now, to me, it seems like I just became aware of it in the last 5-6 years, and it just seemed like a very established, setup. I don't know whether that took time to be recognised. That if you're doing this as a kind of a cottage industry, is it still that, or do the local council recognise it as a crucial, tool for many people to, express themselves? And
well, it's changed really. It changed partly because with the crash and all that, the availability of funding went right down.
Right.
And then we got invited to do a proposal for Dublin City Council for the Music Town Festival, and we've been doing that for the last 3 years, and they have a policy of making sure that the artists, the leaders as it were, are paid for their
time and
teaching work and there is an awful lot of work involved in it.
I was going to say, it's a lot. It sounds like a labour of love, and there's a huge amount of love, obviously, from those taking part. But then it's a huge amount of labour on your part to get to that point where they can be up on a stage in front of an audience and have that wonderful feeling of people are listening to me playing and doing a song I love. And
I suppose the most difficult part is getting the funding.
Right.
And we're constantly looking at for who's giving funding.
Right.
And we've had some help from Wicklow Arts Office, but some years not, and some years we do, and some years we don't. Like, we didn't get any funding this year from
Right.
And we also were helped a lot by Music Network, who funded us for a lot of the instruments that we have, like the drums and all the percussion instruments that we have.
Yeah. And of course it helps when you've got people like Ross McParland, who are very happy to give you
he's really made a difference.
Really good.
Well, to give you a stage that's really a stage, you know, and it's a real kind of, you know, I'm sure for everyone involved, this is the real deal. And you've played there before, and that was, you know, you're going to play there on July 14th. It's a free concert in the afternoon.
Yeah, this is like the third time that he's let us perform, and he comes to us and he gives us a date, and it was just like, and he's so good to us.
He's an angel, yeah. And we should. You mentioned themes. The theme of this show is trees. Did that come from anything in particular? It just felt like it was a good visual and a good kind of inspirational theme to kick on.
I don't really know where it came from, but we
all come from trees, so
we had a couple of students who were interested in talking about mental health issues a lot, and I was reading this book by a neurologist or somebody somebody with a long word after them, and who wrote a book saying how that the variety or the richness of the environment was made a huge difference to people's consciousness and mental health, and I suppose being where we are, you know, trees is one of the obvious, you know, features of the enriched environment, especially if you're in a city. You know.
They help us breathe too, which is handy.
Yeah.
So we made a video of trees, and we got up really early a couple of times and went into Stephen's Green at like 6 o'clock in the morning when there was nobody there, because we just wanted trees with no people.
Great.
There's issues about taking photographs.
Oh yeah, you have to be.
So we took photographs and made little video clips, and then Andy put together a backdrop that will be used during the show.
And then when it came to the musicians and that, were they kind of, you know, encouraged to head off and figure out something to do, or was there something to hold on to when you came to them and said this is the theme? And I mean, I don't know, for them, was there a certain amount of clicking with the idea of trees, or whether it's just a nice visual kind of umbrella for the show?
Well, I think they all took to it pretty enthusiastically. I mean, I actually wrote the words to the song to go with the video, and we did kind of hand pick most of the students this year, and because we were a bit weak on we only have one strong vocalist, whereas now we've got two for this show.
Nice.
So because we wanted, the words were very important to the idea of it, so we put those on the video, and we got somebody to sing the song who's very good at, singing clearly, although he hasn't got a strong voice. He's got a very clear voice. And we just found it was when we were doing things like getting a whiteboard or a flip chart and writing up words and making a song like that, a sort of brainstorming thing. We spent ages doing that. We year on year we kind of, the same ideas tended to come up over and over again.
Right.
So we thought, why don't we just try writing a song and
presenting
it, and because if you've only got 2 or 3 days, or in the case of the Dublin show, we did short rehearsals once a week.
Right.
So, but you've never got enough time to do everything, you know.
Okay.
So having a ready written song made it much.
It's a nice safety net of knowing you've got that covered.
I think it makes the final performance a lot more accessible for the audience.
Right.
You know, there's not.
Here's
they're
one
not wondering
earlier.
what's going on too much. You know,
that's your job. So you have to wonder what the hell is going on. They shouldn't.
And also, like for the first couple of years we did the shows and we were getting the students to write the songs. They were writing about their experience of being disabled. And,
right.
You know, the problems they had with being able to go out somewhere, the access to transport, the way people looked at them and saw them. And then one year, as the years went on, they just said, we don't want to write songs about being disabled. We want to write about something else, you know.
Sure. Universal.
So they wanted to take the focus away from that subject because they felt they had done it, you know. So that was really good for them to have something else.
We should ask now, I'm just thinking now, the fact that a lot of these guys would have, you know, your performers would be performing now for quite a few years and they get a great big stage presence and all that. Any divas or anybody getting those? They want like certain M&Ms in the backstage, and they can only have certain. Nobody's looking them straight in the face. You know, any of the roadies or.
Our main female singer is like.
She's a star.
Great though. She wants to be out there, you know, and she's got a really good voice, and she's not she never gets nervous particularly, and she's out there, and she. Sometimes I would say, I'll do a bit of harmony. No, this is my song.
I'm Aretha. You can step back from the mic now.
And Alan, of course, with his computer, he's a really, you know.
Well, the sort of one-man show feeling, like for some people just have it as a musician, they kind of, it's their world completely. They don't want to hand over a bit of the makeup to.
So we kind of work them into it, you know, so that they get their
solo spots.
They get a solo spot.
They get their chance to shine.
There you go.
But you know, we kind of do it so that everybody gets, you know, a bit to do where the focus is on them.
We should say now, you mentioned yourself, Andy, that you retired, and of course Marion in April, was it April 2nd or whatever you retired? 11th of April. And that was from the IDA, that was a big event. I don't know whether you both feel joyful or whether it's an odd feeling that, we're both now kind of free to dedicate our time to whatever the hell we like to do, and if it changes a lot.
It's very strange for me. I'm not used to it yet because I've never not gone to work, you know.
Right.
But I suppose I'd still do some work. I work with deafblind people in Stillorgan and Sullivan.
Right.
I do sound perception with them, and then I do work with them. A centre in Dunleary, rehab care. I do singing with them.
Right.
And then I sometimes do a bit of children guitar, piano, stuff like that.
And did it give both of you, I don't know, a pause for thought about the fact that here we are, we're both retired and maybe we'll just, you know, step back entirely and just have a quiet life and, you know, sit in the garden. I don't know whether there was any discussion like that you still want to do. Obviously you're still doing music together, so these things could have been quite easily, it would have felt like a natural point to say, well, actually we'll step away and let somebody else do this. Or
well, I think we've certainly wanted to reduce the amount of time we spend on fundraising and paperwork, and you know, because there's a lot of new stuff that's come in, you know, because of the various
a lot of box ticking
charity
to be done to
issues that have come up. You know, it seems like every little organisation has to
justify and verify and
hoops and have a number for this and a number for that, and really that's not what we want to spend our times doing. So yeah, but the demand is there, and I suppose we've made it, or we've let it evolve more into a band, rather than, you know,
you're just in workshops and
for people with disabilities.
And it's got to feel like a family too, really, because, you know, it's not like you're just, you know, having some kids around to teach them how to paint a picture and then they've gone home. There's a real deep emotional kind of investment from your point of view, but certainly those playing the music, this to them, I'm sure, is a huge part of their lives, not just the rehearsal, not just the gig.
Oh,
yeah. So you kind of have that, I'm sure, as it's emotional.
Yeah, well, like I said, there's still 2 or 3 of them that we work with, in sort of individual sessions every week.
Right.
And
some of them do say it's the highlight of their summer.
I can imagine. Just the sheer fun of, like, you look at kids performing, anybody, any age, the chance to get up on stage is a beautiful feeling. If it's and if you're being kind of prepared for it, it's not just let's just see what happens.
Practice it, and we kind of most of the time know what's going to happen next.
You got to allow a little bit of jazz in there. You don't know what way it's going to go. It might just go off into a different time set and tune and all the rest of it. So we just clarify at the very end, July 14th. It's going to be a wonderful thing. We'll link to the time, and it's a free concert, so it's a good idea to book in advance and all that. But just for the diehard U2 fans, it's definitely not a Joshua Tree covers thing. No, it's just trees. Just in case a few of them turn up, they'll have a better time. But just we'll make sure they don't go there and expect to hear Streets Have No Name and all that.
It's different. It's all original music, apart from there's one traditional song that we do.
Nice.
And we will be having some special guests. I guess some semi-professional musicians
like Jose semi-professional,
who are going to do a few songs.
Have you heard of Alison O'Donnell?
Yes.
Mellow Candle. She's going to be performing.
Great.
The first part of the show will be like a concert. There'll be different acts,
nice.
And guests.
Yeah.
And Mood Swings will be there.
Great.
Blue Moon will be doing a piece. Alison O'Donnell and Don MacDonald. You know him?
Oh yes, I do. I've seen him.
He's going to come and
great.
Do some playing.
So it's a great big glass waltz of a lineup of.
Two of the students will do their own songs as well. So
magic.
There'll be about like 5 or 6 acts, and then the second part of the show will be all about the trees.
And you're saying it's mainly thrash metal is the music that you're. Just bring earmuffs then, yeah.